Hi. My name is Linda. I have a son who is 19, almost 20, and he is pretty severely autistic. Um, he's partially verbal, not too much. And I never went away on vacation. I never left him. Wherever I went, I took him with me. He has a lot of health issues. His stomach is a mess. And I needed to go away for a few days to go see another one of my children who I just had a grandchild born. So I really wanted to go do that, and he was not doing well enough for me to take him. It was too long of a flight. So I tried to figure out, how do I go about letting him understand that I'm going to come back. I'm going for a little while and I'll be back. This is the day I'm leaving. He is aware of dates. He will look at the calendar. It's something we worked on for many years from when he was little, and he will recite dates, exact dates of things that we did years ago, and I'll forget the date and he'll remember it. So I decided to use that to help me make him understand this. So I started out making him a book, and I wanted him to understand why I was going, because several months ago, his brother, who had the baby, him and his wife and their daughter, they were living with us, and then they moved. And it was, for him, it probably felt like they disappeared. They left and they disappeared. I don't want him to think that that's what's happening to me. So I wanted him to get the idea that, you know, I am going, but I will come back. And I want him to feel some control over it, control over the dates and the times. So I created a book for him, which is what I'm going to show you now. This is the book. I don't really know how to do this. I'm not very good with this stuff. But this is the book, and it has the dates on it. And then the first page I came up with was just explaining how his brother and his sister-in-law moved. They moved away, and here they are with the baby being born. And here's him, Uncle Anthony, and this is the date the baby was born. I explained how the baby was cried a lot, which is something that Anthony has trouble with. And I figured, I wanted him to understand we were going there to help take care of the baby for a little while, and then we'd be back. Just me and his sister. And his dad was going to stay home with people that help, friends and family. I, made it clear that I was leaving on the 10th and taking a plane, and him and his sister, we were going to come back. There's him with friends and his dad. And people would do things he liked. He likes to see wires. He likes to play basketball. So I said, these are things that are going to happen. His dad will be home with him some days all day. Every night he'd be home with him and have dinner. He'd see his grandma and grandpa. And then on April 14th, I would come back and I'd give him a big hug, and we'd be all together again. And I wasn't sure. I noticed as soon as I started doing that, he started getting nervous and he started not wanting to go to school. So then I decided I needed to make something more permanent so he could see that I would be returning. So I came up with the idea of making this visual also that would just be propped up in the house. And I'm big on Velcro. I like laminating things. I think it helps. So I took pictures right out of the book, and I laminated them, and I made a schedule of things he would be doing. So he had again, I feel like for Anthony, it must be very scary that he doesn't have control. Like, he doesn't know what's going to happen when. So I try to give him control by showing him the calendar, which he understands the idea of it, and when things are going to happen. So I kind of made this. I don't know if you can see. It has the dates, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th that we were gone. And then I have the clouds up in the sky, and we took Southwest, so I figured this would be a good plane because he sees the planes. We show him in the airport when we go there. And for every day, the 10th is when we left, so the airplane is going up. And then every day, Stephanie or Mary, who was helping him, they would continue putting the airplanes up. This is me and his sister. We're in Arizona. And each day on the 13th, we're getting closer to coming home. And on the 14th, we'd be coming home. These are all visual aids that I made trying to help him understand it. It took me a lot of time, it did, but it wasn't undoable. And it made me feel better because I did not feel right about leaving him, and I know that he would be upset. I knew he wanted to come, but it was about 12 hours of traveling, and it's just too much for him. Okay, well, here are all the people. I tried to show him who he'd be with at different days. This day he would go to camp. On the 11th, on the 12th, he went to camp. On the 13th, he'd be seeing Grandma and Grandpa. He'd see the wires. He'd see the wires again. He likes seeing the wires. And on the 14th, when the plane landed, he'd see Mommy and Samantha again. We'd all be together. I tried to come up with other visual. I didn't know what they would need, so I picked places that he likes to go in case they wanted to go. This is a farm that we go to. He sees the ducks. This is another park we go to. There's a wigwam there, and there's also chickens, and there's a cow and stuff, so he likes to go there. This is like a little cutout of Mary. That's from the book. Mary is one of my very best friends, and she also helps me with Anthony for years. It has Velcro on the back, so I can stick it onto things. I also made one because he has a membership to Planet Fitness, but I don't think they did that. And I also had a problem because on the day that I was returning, my flight didn't arrive until 11:30 at night. That's when I would arrive in the airport. And I knew that, he knew I was coming home on the 14th, but if you have an autistic child, the concept of waiting is hard to explain to them. Sometimes 5 minutes feels like an eternity, like you're waiting for the bus, and he's like, the bus is, bus, time to go. And it can turn things around to the point that after that 5 minutes, he wants to stay home because it just took too long. So it's good to try to have something to help him understand. And I kept trying to think, what could I do to help him understand the time, visually show him the time. Because I knew that the other things I gave them to do would help them get to the 14th, hopefully. Fill up the days, make him understand what was happening each day. But then on the 14th, I didn't want him to think, oh, Mommy's going to be there right away. So I tried to think, what could I do to make him understand that I am coming home on the 14th, but it's very late at night. So I finally came up with my time strip. It's again another visual aid. And I wanted each hour to show up a little bit more, so I changed the colors of them. And I started with, even though I was coming home at 11:30, I figured 11 would be enough, late enough, and I started at 11 o'clock in the morning, because I figured by then he would be saying, where is she? Why isn't she here yet? He's probably already up for 4 or 5 hours because he gets up very early, so this is what I decided to do, because he's waiting for the plane to come, and he understands that much. So I made a time strip of the day from 11 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. And for each hour that I would be gone, there was a sun or a moon indicating what time of day it was. And there was also a tab of Velcro. And for each hour, I made another tiny version of the airplane. And he would then, with the help of Stephanie or Mary, or his dad, depending on who was here, they would put the airplane on the strip to help him understand. And I will explain to you, that was my theory behind it, and then I'll explain to you how it worked. But here is what I made. This is the pocket I made for the airplanes. Oops. And these are all the little airplanes. And then what I did was, this is the strip. These, I tried to change the hours so that he could see them. Each one stands out. I tried to make it very visually obvious to him how it would work out. And here's the sun for the morning time, and here are the planes affixed already. And then as I back up, you can see that it goes all the way from 11 a.m. in the morning, and then it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes, and then it gets to be nighttime. At 8 o'clock it gets dark, and then there's 11. And then for each hour, if he, and I instructed them that if he's not asking about it, don't make a fuss out of it. If he seems to be struggling, then bring this tool out. Don't use it because it might bring focus to something that's not a problem. If it's a problem, it's here. So it was a problem. They did take it out. They started to do it, and his first reaction was he wanted to take every airplane out and put it right across the strip. But they explained to him, no, that's not the way it is. And they had to take a timer out. So they used a timer. This is one of my timers. And they plugged in 1 hour, and it will go off and make a noise, a beeping noise, so that they know to put the next airplane up. I did suggest that if he seems to be too fixated on it, that they should make the day go by faster by trying to do some of the activities, go see the wires, go visit grandma and grandpa, go to the park for a little while, just do one thing, two things, keep his mind to go for a walk around the block, just, to help the time go by. They did have to use the timer. He was a little anxious, and he did get distracted very well when they did take him out and they did some things with him. So it really did work out pretty well. And then, as I said, like, this is what, basically here is the strip. I'm so sorry about the videoing, but I don't know how to do this. But you just keep going, and then by the end he had all the little airplanes lined up. And by that time I heard from my husband that he started to do it for himself after a while. Nobody had to do it after about 5 o'clock. He got the idea, and every hour he would just come and do it himself. And then when it was time, he came with his dad, and they came and got us at the airport. He was very happy to see us, and he did have a little time. Like, there we are. There's the whole strip with all the airplanes on it, and he was very happy to see us. And then the next day, he actually later that day, the next day, he kind of hugged me for like 2 hours straight, and I tried to let him know I was going to be there, and we had Easter right after that, and we had Easter egg hunts, and we did all the stuff that we always do. I planned all of it before I left, and but he did have a hard time. Like, it wasn't just all perfect because he didn't want to go to school the whole next week. He didn't want to leave me, he kept, and maybe he was sick. Maybe he really was sick. Anthony has a lot of issues, but I kind of feel like partly he just wasn't sure. He was upset about that I left, and I think that might have been part of it. But the next week I did get him in. I brought him in myself late the next week, and then by the Tuesday he went on the bus again. So we survived. And I just want to say, if you have an autistic child and you don't know how they could possibly do it without you, I mean, obviously I waited a long time. Anthony is 19. But it can be doable. I mean, Anthony has a lot of health issues. He has behaviors, stomach problems. We have a lot. It's a lot to take care of him. But he's very sweet and loving, and he would have loved to see his brother. We will try to do that another day. It's just that with an infant and his sister, who is only 1.5 years old, we just felt that it would be too chaotic for Anthony, and it wouldn't be a good visit with them. So here's some ideas, and I did have people suggest that I share these things because there might be other parents that are struggling, and My house is a mess and I'm a mess, and I have a headache right now. I'm sorry, but I just figured maybe it will help somebody. All right. I hope this helps. Bye.